Hi, I'm Shannon, and welcome to my channel. I want to share some special perfumes that have been added into my collection. These are new pickups, and some of these I've had on my wish list probably for a year. Some of them are newer releases, so I want to share my thoughts, and hopefully this is helpful if you're interested in any of these. Let's start with a newer release because that's always kind of the bright, shiny object for people, right? And I'm talking about Baniyas. This is by the house of Widian. So I have sampled a lot of the Widian fragrances, and I will be honest, I've wanted to like more of these just because the bottles are so stunning, the package is amazing, the presentation is very refined, very sophisticated. These bottles are fantastic. I think they're beautiful, but some of the other scents, they're just a little bit too heavy. This is an interesting fragrance. I would say this is very unisex. Now, if I look at the notes for this, it makes no sense at all. I mean, you can see them here. There's lavender, artemisia, I don't even know what that is, bergamot, geranium. I mean, there's patchouli, sandalwood, vetiver. I mean, I would never look at this and get the smell that I actually get from this perfume. So what I actually get with Baniyas is I get a creamy, non-sweet, white, like floral. And it has a woody background. It has the bergamot and lavender. I can kind of smell that. But one of the things I found from my like Widian experience is that they are blended really well. So I don't pick out, like when I say lavender, I think sometimes that could be a little scary, only because lavender can come off kind of harsh. This is incredibly creamy, incredibly smooth. I definitely pick up on the florals here, but not overly feminine. I mean, this is a very unisex scent still. I wouldn't say that this is, too sweet or feminine leaning. I went through 2 decants of this and I was kind of trying to convince myself that it wasn't that special or I didn't need it. And it could be argued that this is a creamy sandalwood with some floral hints, with some citrus, and it could be argued that. But I think it is done very well. I kept repurchasing decants because I kept wanting to smell it. And I do find this very addictive. I feel the same about Yasat that I got from Widian. I love both of these perfumes. I think they're both really good. They're very different. But if that sounds good to you, if you like a creamy, woody, slightly floral scent, I think this is actually a perfect transitional scent. If you're going, like, you could wear this in cold weather. You can wear this in spring. I think this is very wearable for summer as well. Maybe not like super high heat, but I think this is a great transitional scent too. So I'm very thrilled to have this. If you've been intrigued, maybe start with a few from the House of Widian and see what you think. The next perfume, I cannot say I went through 2 decants before buying it because that's not true. And I'm talking about Outlands from Amouage. Now, I think that this bottle is really cool. It's a like nude color. Of course, I like that because I love neutrals. But it kind of feels like it's stone. I don't know. It just looks very refined and sophisticated. I also like their other bottles. It's not like I would want all their perfumes to come in this, but I do think it's cool. Although it already has some scuff marks on it because of the light color. Anyhow, what does this smell like? I went through a discovery set of all 3, or I've tried all 3, let's put it that way. The other 2 reasons smelled really strange to me. I don't know what was in that one, but it smelled really strange. And then the other one, I'm blanking on the name right now, but it kind of had a lot of cardamom. And that one actually really reminded me of Gris Charnel. So I thought it was good, but I was like, this is very familiar. These do run, probably like a new release for Amouage, probably just a tiny bit pricier. So for me, I really wanted the scent to be new and exceptional. Like I had very high standards for this, and this didn't disappoint at all. I blind bought this because I did that. I heard a lot of really positive reviews, and Outlands, I think, was one that they sent a lot of PR out for. And then I started hearing like mixed reviews on it, and I got cold feet and I ordered a decant to test. So like my box sat here for 2 weeks and I was like, I'm afraid that I'm going to hate this fragrance. Now, I don't hate it. I actually really, really like Outlands, but I will definitely say that this is not for everyone. This is a very strong, spicy, like fresh, spicy amber scent with a lot of sweetness. I do perceive that it is sweet. Very unisex. I get a lot of the elemi resin in here. So elemi resin is kind of giving it this outdoorsy feel. There's a lot of spiciness here. There's cardamom, there's black pepper. There's so much depth to this perfume, and the performance on this is really good. I'm not surprised because Amouage just does that, but I just find this to be like, I have to be in the mood. This is not an everyday scent because it is quite strong. It has a very strong personality. This is somebody, like, you don't wear this when you want to like sneak in the back and have no one notice you. This is a strong scent, but it's very beautiful. It's so refined. And I just think they did a really neat job making something really unique and different. So I don't have anything like this in my collection. I'm really happy with it. I'm looking at like the notes and kind of, I guess, struggling with how to describe it. But I guess the best way I can say it is that I get the feeling of being outdoors, and I get the feeling of like natural sweetness. I really don't smell anything too synthetic here at all. Yeah, I just get this feeling of like dripping sap and being outside, and there's sweetness that's also kind of resinous. There's a lot of resinous and balsamic qualities in here. If you like the sound of that, if you're a fan of Amouage and you like that they do new and different things, I would suggest checking out Outlands because you might really enjoy it, and it might be, another standout in your collection. The next perfume I want to share is one that I have experienced. I had a decant of it about a year ago, and I kind of passed over it. And then someone was speaking about it again, and I was like, I really need to revisit that because I love Roja. Now, this is Enigma, or it also goes by Creation E, and this is the Parfum Cologne version. Now, I will just let you guys know, when I buy something, typically I like to test out all the versions. I like to kind of do my research and make sure that I'm getting what I like the most. So I did that. I tested the Parfum version of this. I was confused because there's Creation E and there's Enigma. Apparently they are the same thing. So the Parfum Cologne was released after the original Parfum, and I tested both of those actually quite extensively before buying this. And I'll give you a sense of what this smells like first, just in case you're not familiar. And I'm just gonna spray this because it's so wonderful, and why not? Actually, that's interesting. I'm like, is that juice? It's dark. I'm like, is it? Be careful with that. Oh, this is so uplifting. It's so fun. It's like a fizzy, I know people always say this is like a fizzy Coca-Cola, but it really is. It's a fizzy Coca-Cola, little bit of a vintage vibe that Roja kind of does sometimes. Like, it makes me think of like Manhattan has some of that powderiness, which makes it smell vintage. And the Parfum Cologne has more of an uplifting opening. So this one has some florals, bergamot, ginger in the opening. And so that's kind of the differentiation. Now I have the Parfum notes here as well. So that's a difference between the Parfum and the Parfum Cologne, is that this opens a little bit more bright and sparkling. And that's what I noticed there. Now with the Parfum, That one is a little bit thicker and denser, a little bit more focused on the cognac and tobacco, benzo, and vanilla. So that one, understandably, because it's a probably more concentrated version, a little bit heavier in that way. Now, I will say, after having tested them out extensively side by side, I felt like I didn't notice enough of a difference to justify the Parfum bottle, because that one is 50 ml. And I actually I wanted to let you guys know the pricing on these. So the 50 ml for the Parfum is $260, which is like already reduced. This one is 100 ml and it's $180. So if you like the smell and you plan on wearing it, I didn't see enough of a difference to buy the Parfum. So anyways, all that being said, I'm very happy with this. If I'm for some reason disappointed, I can always go back and get the Parfum as well. But this is just really good. This is a really fun perfume. I'm really happy to have it in my collection. I've tested it extensively before I bought it, so I always feel really good about purchases like that. But this is, a lot of women talk about this. It's very unisex. Creation E or Enigma, I know, is a lot of favorites from Roja for a lot of men too. So this is a fantastic scent. If you're not familiar and you like the Roja DNA, you like a little bit of a hint of vintage, I would check out Enigma, Parfum, or Parfum Cologne. The next perfume that I picked up that wasn't really on my radar at all, and then I was watching a video from Marlene Estelle, that if you saw my Marseille video, you know that I like her. And she was talking about fall perfumes, and she spoke about Ouverture from Xerjoff. Now, this is just not a Xerjoff that's been on my radar. And I actually feel like I haven't even spoken about Xerjoff enough on this channel, probably because those are like my original niche perfumes. A lot of them are Xerjoff. That's so hard to say. Xerjoffs. My partner loves saying it. He's like, oh, is that my Xerjoff? He loves to say it. We both struggle. So this is Ouverture from Xerjoff. Now, she was speaking about it, and I'm going to steal her description because it made me want to buy it. And the way she spoke about it was that it's a holiday spiced plum cake, like a holiday spiced dessert. And so I'll read the notes off for you. So, and then this, by the way, this is a newer bottle. This used to come in velvet, which I hate velvet because it gets dirty. It's gross. So this is not velvet, just like they've upgraded the bottle, which is fantastic. So this has fig leaf, orange, and magnolia at the top. Then we have cinnamon, ylang, jasmine, and rose in the mid. And then there's sandalwood, vanilla, cashmere, amber, and incense at the base. So it's a very woody, amber, warm, spicy perfume. And it's interesting because she said it smelled like a plum cake. And I pick up plum in here pretty prominently. And I love plum fragrances, so I have a nose for it. I mean, I have plum and cognac. I'm like, what's another plum perfume that I have? I know I have more, but I pick up a prominent plum note. So if you know what that is, it's like a very deep fruit smell. It has a very specific type of smell to it. This is a very complex, very nuanced scent for being a spiced holiday cake that would normally be kind of juvenile or gourmand-like. This is sweet, but it's very refined. I do get, Xerjoff does a good job of blending, so I'm not picking up anything harsh. It's really beautiful. It's just, I think it's delicious smelling. It definitely is a very happy scent. It gets me in the mood to be cozy. I think this is a perfect holiday scent. I'm kind of discovering it a little bit later than the holidays, but I'm still going to wear it right now. I think it's lovely. It's really addictive and beautiful. So if you like plum, if you like the idea of a spiced cake and you like holiday scents, there is also a touch of cinnamon in here. So if you like some of that, you want a little bit of a divergence from the apple pie profile, which stay tuned because there's one of those coming up. But if you want a divergence from that, Ooh, my Uber Eats is here. Feel free to comment below if you want to know what I ordered from Uber Eats. It's my usual. So anyhow, as I was saying, if you want a divergence from that apple pie kind of profile, I would check this out. I think you might really enjoy it. And that was Overture by Xerjoff. Speaking of apple pie scent profiles, let me share what I think is kind of dare we say, hidden gem in this category. I'm talking about Nightfall Patchouli, and this is by Carolina Herrera. This is my first bottle from her. The bottle actually kind of wowed me. I think it's black or like really dark purple. It's kind of cool. It's really pretty. So there's that. Now, this scent, it has a very simple breakdown. This is cinnamon, patchouli, and benzoin. Now, okay, thank you. What does that mean? Now, this is, if you think about the scent that I most kind of like align this to would be Ombre d'Alexander by Boucheron, but make it deeper, make it darker, more sultry. That's definitely what I get. And I will say, because I have worn those, I've worn this and I've worn Amber d'Alexandre. I'm doing a great job. I've worn those side by side, and I will say that the performance on this is noticeably different. Now, if you are very sensitive to patchouli, you may not like this. So I think this is very well done. It really gives me the sweet apple pie kind of profile. It's very yummy and cozy smelling, but it has the depth of that patchouli, which probably helps with the longevity. So if you haven't checked this out and that is your jam, then you need to get your nose on this. This next perfume, I'm actually kind of embarrassed to admit that I haven't owned this previously because it's so popular and so many people talk about it. But sometimes I'm like, maybe that's why I overlooked it. So I'm talking about Jazz Club, and this is by Replica. The other reason might be because I love By the Fireplace. I was sort of indoctrinated early with that one. So I felt like Jazz Club was, same family. Now that I'm a hoarder, I want both. So anyhow, Jazz Club is super sexy. It's very unisex. Anyone who wears this is going to be smelling amazing. It's a little smoky. There's tobacco and there's sweetness in here. It really smells like you were in a jazz club and maybe you had some kind of like warm liquor. There's rum in here. So you were hanging out there, and then I was just thinking, because there's a little bit of aromatic touches in here. It's like you were hanging out in the jazz club and you had this like sweet kind of liqueur sort of drink. You had some rum, and then you have like, maybe you were like gardening with like some fresh herbs earlier in the day. So there's like all of these different layers happening. This one gives you a nice cloud too. It's very like fluffy smelling and a little bit powdery. I think it's so good. I'm going to confess this right now, and please, you can judge me for this. It's okay. But when I smelled this about a year ago or so, I did not like it. And I'm sort of shocked at myself because I revisited this again because it had come up in a video or something recently, piqued my interest again. And when I smelled it, I just was shocked that I could ever not notice how fantastic it is. And honestly, for Replica, for a niche perfume, the pricing is great. I think this is 100 ml. You can buy these at Sephora. If you wait till sale, you can even get 20% off on this. So I think a lot of the Replica line are great. I like their deep, dark, give me the deep, dark ones, but this one is really great. I'm really happy with it. I want to wear these heavier, kind of more cold weather scents as much as I can while the weather's still cold where I'm at. So I hope this was helpful. If you're looking for any new ideas, or maybe just like me, you kind of forgot about some of these that have been out for a while and you want to revisit and check them out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video of some new pickups that I have. I'm holding on to those deep, dark scents. What are some that you love? Let me know in the comments. And if you like the content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you back in another video soon.